Hello, happy Monday. I hope you've had a lovely weekend and that you're ready to either do something creative with me or listen to me do something that's hopefully creative. That's the plan. So today we are looking at half and half composition, which is one of my favorite ways to make a page. So much so that I did a whole class based on half and half pages. And this is what I mean by that. So half the page is covered in one paper and the other half is in another paper. You can also do it this way. But this one's vertical with two different papers from the May kit. And I've got some choices for photos. So I'm going to show them to you and let you vote. And we'll get right into scrappiness. So let's have a look at what's on the desk. I've also got spoilers here. So spoilers, if you haven't watched the last two and you want to keep them a secret, you can look away. Otherwise, you can look now. So neither of these have journaling on yet. I need to do, that's on my list for tomorrow. So I've got this one from Friday and this one from a week ago and today. So we've got this background. I've put the spoiler ones away, so if you're looking away, you can come back now. Okay, so this is the background we're going to use today, or I'm going to use today. And options for photos. So we can do Carlos and Cruella, which are from March, and I've got 4 small photos, so 4 3x4 portraits. Dun, 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 dun. Or 2 3x5s from 1 million years ago from 4-H club days. This is my 4-H club doing a skit, and I'm here in the turquoise blue top and acid wash jeans that most of us have. I too, yeah, I think so. Pinch rolled our jeans that we're wearing with like high tops, like LA Gear high tops. Okay, so Carlos and Cruella, if you want current and bright photos, and you want to see how I work with a background that's starting with pink, but the photos are red, or the vintage photos. So I'm going to put a box for you to vote in the live chat. So I'm adding that now. Start a poll. Which photos? Current, Carlos and Cruella, old 4-H pictures. Go. Okay, so I'll tell you who I am while you vote, and I'm curious how this will end up because I feel like this is something you'll have opinions on either way. Hi, my name's Shimelle. I design scrapbooking products, teach scrapbooking classes. I said that in the wrong order. I teach online scrapbooking classes, design scrapbooking products, and help you use them to tell your stories in a creative way. That was really weird that switching the order threw me so much. Anyway, I do all those things, and my name is Shimelle. And anytime I scrapbook online, because it's not just my hobby, it is my job, I have to make sure that I have to legally make sure that you're aware of that this is advertising. I've mixed it all up, all of the sentences back to front. I'll tell you why in a minute. Yeah, so are you aware, thank you, that this is hashtag advertising? I'm not sure it's going to be great advertising at the way that just went, but for things like the classes that you can take on my website, which there's one right now, which is brand new, and you can join in. It's called This Year's Story, and it's at the very top of Shimelle.com. If you go, you can sign up. Also classes like using the things that you buy, stamps, stencils, bold pattern papers, and stickers all have their own editions of those. If you have lots of that in your stash and you need to use it rather than just hoard it, I'm here to help you with that. Or you can check the box below for links that'll take you to supplies, including what I'm using this month, that's what we call the May kit, and what I'm using next month, which would be the June kit. And none of it is a kit where you have to buy the whole thing. So Best of Both Worlds works on the concept that I give you a shopping list. You can shop through that link. You can use that list to shop at your local store if you're lucky enough to have one, because that is amazing and you should shop there if you still have one. And you can also use it to shop your own stash if you've been collecting stuff for a long time and need to use it up. So there's a list, and also it means that you control what you want to keep in and what you want to leave out. If I put something in and you're like, girl, I would never use that, then please don't buy it. If I put something in and you're like, yes, I love this, please buy 10. It's all good, okay? You're in control. It's just a list, and you can buy what you want. So there's affiliate links to all that stuff in the box below, and links to my classes, and I would love to have you in a class anytime. Okay, let's see what, oh my goodness, the poll is really close. Okay, let's see where it, I'll leave it just a moment, and then I'll see. I'll put it back on the desk for those of you who are like, I want to see what I'm voting on. Okay, so Carlos and Krella with the current photos, or old photos from 4-H. Dun, 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 dun. And who have we got today? Jen says, I want to see how to make the red, white, and black work. I have no doubt that Shimelle can and will. It's just one of those things I need to see in order to get it. Kirsty can't see the voting poll. I don't know why. You can just vote in the chat. It's okay. Oh, Kirsty wanted Carlos and Corella. Oh, have I already lost that camera? I must not have had much power on the battery. Whoops. Oh, she got to vote. Okay. So right now, these are winning. So I think that's it. Nancy says she loves the June kit and it has gorgeous colors. So thank you. I unpacked it the other day and I'm excited to use that. Carrie says, I'm curious about how you handle March in your albums when you take so many cute pictures. Like what you take in March is more than enough for one album. I just go with the flow. But you'll see everything that doesn't become, like, so the 12 by 12s become pages that I do here. Anything that becomes smaller than that will be covered in this year's story, plus how it all fits together is in this year's story. If you weren't interested in this year's story, but you're just specifically interested in seeing how I deal with March, you'd be able to just get the March set when March is live. But in general, the short answer is that I believe if you are enjoying scrapbooking something, it is okay to scrapbook it lots. I kind of want to put face cam on for this, but I've just dropped the battery, so I can't. So you got to just listen to me and imagine my face with my passionate look on my face going, it is okay. I'm giving you permission. So yes, March has a lot of pages in all of my albums for the last however many years we've done that challenge, 4 or 5. And once the whole year is done, I have absolutely no regret about that. They are some of my favorite pages to make all year long. I love the adventure of taking those photos, but I also don't have the energy to do that multiple months of the year, as you'll notice from the fact that I posted all the way through March on Instagram, sometimes 3 times a day, and then promptly stopped and haven't posted anything on my feed since, which I really need to sort out. But there we go. So there are a lot of pages for March, and that's not a problem. When you read a novel, do you get upset if one chapter is short and one chapter is long? I don't. So I don't get upset with it in my books either. That's the short version. Okay. It hasn't changed now. The poll has stayed at, let me see the whole thing so I can, it stayed at these photos winning. So these go back to Fight Another Day. 50 of you voted today. Wow. Amazing. Okay. AJ is already asking you to click the like button. Oh, you lovely, lovely AJ. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to have 2 pictures like this. We're going to need something to journal on. We're going to need something to mat these photos. Also, I feel like I should bring in this color so that of all the people here, you know which one's me. I'm loving that in this photo, this can date everything. Oh my goodness. So this this is us doing a play that we wrote. Like in 4-H, you had to like, your club had to write its own play to perform in this competition thing. That's the Berlin Wall here with soldiers and this little sign that says 1989. And over here, I have a glittery baton with streamers coming out of the end. And somebody's doing a cartwheel. But these two girls on the floor almost look like they might be like handcuffed or something. Maybe not. Maybe they're just enjoying the show. I don't know. It's weird though, right? And then I remember doing this bit. We did this like dance. This is my two next door neighbors growing up. They're sisters. And I've curled my hair very fancy. I must have thought this was very special. I think I'm even wearing makeup even though I was like 12. And we did this, I must be 13 because this is after the Berlin Wall. And we ended our dance with peace signs as if everyone would understand what we were on about. I don't remember what we danced to. Right. Rosemary says, would you put the old photos in their chronological album? Yes. So this will not go in my 2023 album. This will go in my album that is called The Early Years, which is all of my stuff of my life before I started scrapbooking. So I started scrapbooking aged 21. So the early years are the first 20 years of my life, and I don't have anywhere near as many photos from those days, but I have little blips like this, and so this will go in my early years album. My early years album is on my blog, like as a still photo flip through, for what it's worth. You should be able to search and find that if you were so inclined. It's not a requirement. Okay. So stuff we have got for layering here. We have all of this. Jen says she is always happy and inspired by the layouts, whatever photos are used, but she does hope to see the Carlos and Corella at some point. Carlos and Corella definitely get scrapped at some point. You'll see it. Not to worry. But, you know, Agricultural Club does play about the fall of the Berlin Wall. Everybody signed up for that today, right? So I feel like I should explain 4-H along the way. I'll have to do that. Have I explained 4-H to non-Americans at any point in my live streaming history? I'm sure it's come up once or twice. Okay, so I've got a pink journaling box here. Or I've got smaller journaling boxes. I feel like this needs a big journaling box. Okay. Oh, goodness. Sophia went to uni in 89, and a lot was happening then. The Berlin Wall coming down, Tiananmen Square. And Tiananmen Square, I was homesick, but I was at my grandma's and watching soap operas. And I will never forget, I hope my brain will work so that I don't forget. But anyway, it's a very clear memory to me at this stage in life of them breaking in with, breaking news to my grandmother's soap operas to show what was happening at Tiananmen Square. And then, obviously, all the news reports were thinking that something was going to happen. And the something happening was stillness for many hours. And so all day long, we were expecting the soap operas to come back on, and they didn't. And it was very strange. And I kept being like, Grandma, what is going on? And she's like, honey, I don't really know. Okay, so how am I going to bring in that color? I think this color is in my stickers a little bit, but not in the paper. Yeah, so this is kind of close enough, but I need to bring in a scrap of paper that color. I'm going to bring in this one too, but I need to bring in something that color to make it work. And Kirsty says, with albums like that, like my early years album, do you not worry about color continuity and cohesion and just let the layouts and schemes be random? I'm still hung up on the recent addition to Scrap a Rainbow. Okay, number one, I will say, I wish I could turn the face cam back on again. remember, that was lesson one. Lesson one in this little bridging class for Scrap a Rainbow is not standalone. So don't take everything there as being the full thing, because I'm going to show you that sometimes I pay more attention to continuity and cohesion than others. But there's a really perfectly acceptable reason that makes sense to my brain as to why my early years album is not planned out in a way where it all uses the same supplies and makes sense, but my 2023 album is. And that is because my early years album is taking 20 years of my life and telling it in these little highlights. That is a very different kind of story than here are all of the things that I wanted to remember from 2023. So 2023 has more cohesion, has more planning, because I'm telling everything. Yeah? Some things will get a full 12 by 12, some things will get a pocket, some things will get somewhere in between, but it's a chronology of an entire year. But my early years album, I don't have that luxury. I don't have a full record of photos from that time. I have bits and pieces. And so I tell a story in bits and pieces, and the design looks like bits and pieces, and that's fine, okay? But yeah, never get stuck after lesson one of a class, because there's always more to it than whatever is in lesson one. Sometimes my teacher background gets me in trouble like that, because I really design something to be a whole unit. And if you do like lesson one, lesson two, and then you give up, you're just stuck on the things that I did at the beginning to set you up and nothing that I did to develop it. So keep going. Don't freak out yet. By the way, I'm going to send a message out about this tonight. But if you are doing that bridging class, the video for tomorrow, I said I'm not going to schedule it exactly, because if I do, something will come out of the woodwork to mess it up. But that my plan was Tuesday at 1:30. So of course my child has broken his tooth and has to go to the emergency dentist tomorrow. Of course. So it's going to be as soon as I come back from that. And tonight I'm going to try and get a good but also have a safety zone kind of timing for that to tell you when it will be. And so I'm going to send an email to everybody out tonight, and that would also have the link about if you didn't watch step one and you want to watch the first one before tomorrow, that'll be in there too. Okay, cool. Right. Sophia says, poor WB, how did he manage that? We don't know. It's not a front tooth, and it's not an adult tooth. So these are both good things. It's a back tooth. But he was like, Mommy, there's something like crumbly on my tooth. And I thought like he had something stuck in his tooth. So I gave him dental floss and a toothpick, and he's going, no, this is not helping. And so I got out a torch and the little dental mirror, and I'm like, the crumbly thing is your tooth. It has busted. So he's got a dentist appointment tomorrow. Sorry. So I'm looking in my scraps here for things that are that kind of color. Seeing what I've got here. And then the reason that today I was stumbling all over my words, and my brain was all over the shop, because I finally had my test results back from my knee. And the good bit is there's nothing like sinister or unexpected at all. So that's great. That was a concern at one point of like, we're going to have this test so that we can make sure there's nothing here that's too green. Nothing here that we didn't expect, like something that would come out of left field. And there's none of that. So I don't have like a cyst or a tumor in my knee or anything like that. And that is all really good to know. The confusing part is it's exactly what they thought it was 6 months ago, which they thought would clear up on its own in 6 weeks, and instead has just continued to get worse. So where do we go from here? That's what I don't know yet. So I came home and had about 20 minutes in between to kind of do some Googling. And, you know, Googling for health concerns is never something that settles your mind, is it? So, we'll see. I don't have more answers than that at the moment. Okay, do we think this is close enough to make that color work? I think so. If you see that as a matte, that brings it out. Okay, so I brought out some scraps in that kind of color to match what's here and what's in the photo. Okay? All right. So yeah, it's all, everything in my knee is basically bursitis, but bursitis ordinarily goes away. It kind of is like you have a water balloon in your knee. I kind of have 3 water balloons in my knee, but they're not going away. That's all. So we'll figure out. I see somebody else who's going to tell me what to do about that. All right. Should I go over this border here? Oh, okay. We could keep everything down here. Let's do this. Okay, sketchiness. Sketchy, sketchy, sketchiness. Where's my sketchy, sketchy, sketchy pen? Oh, no, don't do that. Oh, I had an excellent scrapbooking moment at the weekend I thought you would all appreciate. So, WB had a thing he had to go to, and I had to bring a form and a photo, and I had a feeling they might need to be attached, but I didn't know for sure that they would need to be attached. So you don't want to like staple it before you get there, because then they'll want them separate, won't they? But if they do want them attached, you're going to want to staple it. So I had first put a paper clip in the folder with the paper and the photo. And then right as we were about to leave, I'm like, oh, I have a stapler I can just take with me. And I took a tiny attacher with me in my handbag. And did I end up stapling for like 6 other moms and children who also had photos they weren't sure were supposed to be attached to the paper or not, and if so, on what side of the paper they should be attached? Yes, yes. So the tiny attacher has come in handy. I am very confused as to why. Oh, I know. Maybe I picked up my sketchy pen with some other stuff I just moved off my desk, so let me have a look. No, it's not there. Okay, I will have to sketch with another pen, because for some reason I've put my magical pink Sharpie in some weird place that it doesn't go. It has a place and it's not there. All right, so we'll sketch in black today. When Cassie watches this, she'll be like, what are you playing at? But it'll come back. Okay. Jen says, feel free to disregard, but when I had a knee issue that wouldn't clear up, it turned out to be an issue coming out of my hip and lower back, and we worked on that. And then the knee improved. That was one of my questions originally, but what's wrong was definitely very clear on the scan. So that's good news. They could see what it was. It was just that the reasons we thought it might be there, we were coming up with like things that could be in the way or broken and stuff like that. They were not broken or in the way. So there we go. Sophia had bursitis in her hip and it was horrible. Ugh, it's not fun. No, it just feels so weird and annoying. And she says, my mother and a very good family friend were both stage managers and both were famous for carrying all sorts of useful things in their handbags. If you needed a pack of cards, a hammer, Sophia's godmother would have you covered. Yep, I totally understand that sort of thing. It's really funny because I quite often will have all the random things at just in my bag at a class or rehearsal or whatever, and to the point where now, if somebody's missing something, they'll be like, "Oh, ask WB's mom. Need a hair tie? Need hairpins to put your hair in a bun? Need somebody to French plait your hair? Need somebody to help you with your makeup. Didn't bring your makeup and need spare. I have a bag for that. It's like I have a first aid for shows. I have a first aid kit and I have a spare makeup kit. WB has his own makeup kit, but I have like a special one that like anybody can use. There's nothing that like touches your face. So there's like sponges and stuff in there. Because I get really nervous about kids sharing like mascara. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So yeah. Okay, we're going to have a journaling card over here. Oh, the photos were much taller than the journaling card, and I'm not drawing it that way. Whoops. Okay. Oh, that's a beautiful scallop, Shimelle. Okay, so this is journaling. This is going to come all the way over to here. I don't know how I'm drawing this here, but paper layers, paper layers. Okay, so this is a photo, this is a photo. This is journaling. What else are we going to put up here? So I feel like the title needs to go on this side because this side's going to be easier to read than putting lettering over here. So the title's going to go here. We're going to have some embellishment here. And some embellishment over here and some embellishment down here. So triangle, boom, 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 of embellishments across the photo. This bit up here is just going to exist so that you can see plenty of that pattern. So I've got these little stitch stars over here. I've got the vintage cameras over here. Leave it like that. I kind of want to add maybe stickers or stamping, maybe both, to this journaling card so it doesn't just feel plain. And I think that's mostly it. Confetti all along here. Okay. Ah, Kirsty has a tap shoe repair kit that lives in her purse even though her dancing kid graduated last year. Yes! This is the sort of thing. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. And yet, do I ever have a pen when I need a pen? I'll either have 27 million pens or 0 pens and nothing in between, and I don't know what that's about. Yeah. Leslie says this is just a Mary Poppins moment. Out of your bag comes a stapler. Yes, also a potted plant and a coat stand. Why not? I still don't understand how they do that in the stage show. It's magical, and I don't actually want to know, I don't think. But it's amazing. A coat stand and a potted plant out of that bag. How? Why? I mean, I know why, but how? Sophia says, said godmother was the stage manager on the OG production of Oliver. She was quite something and the queen of enormous handbags for obvious reasons, decades before they were trendy. Kirsty says, oh, of course you don't have a pen when you need one. The good ones live in the scrap room and the bad ones leak. Isn't that the truth? Okay, let's start here. Adhesive. This looks like Bella Besties, I think. Because there's a similar Doodlebug print to this, but that's definitely a Bella dot and not a Doodlebug dot. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Oh! Did this one stick okay? Yeah. The surface is a little different on old photos and new photos, so it didn't react in the way I expected. That's funny. It stuck. I just needed to press harder today. I don't think this one stuck a lot. No, there's like 3 dots. There we go. Yeah, just got to press harder on the vintage photos. It's a little slicker than the photo paper I use now. Okay. Boop, boop. So yeah, all that medical appointment just kind of juggled my brain around a little bit. And I was like, right, I need to get into the zone of live streaming, but my brain is still going, what are we going to do about this knee? It's okay. I'm glad that it wasn't any of the scary things. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Right. So we got something like this. And let's put some layers behind all that. So could I bring that over here? Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with that side though. I'm not inking this. I may regret that later. Leanne carries a sewing kit for marching band uniforms. Oh, and I promised to explain 4-H. So, right, let's explain 4-H while I'm sticking stuff down. So 4-H, the 4 H's stand for hands, heart, head, and health. I don't know why anybody came up with that, but that's what the 4-H thing stands for. And it is American Agricultural Club. So think like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, but for farm kids. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't have it in urban and suburban areas. They definitely do. But a lot of the activities in 4-H and its like founding and where it grew from is all agricultural. So if you were a farm kid and your farmer parents wanted you to learn how to take care. Oh, you're kidding. Leaf blower guy is out. Oh, this is a younger leaf blower guy. Leaf blower guy for hire. Right. He's not a neighbor, so I'm guessing he's some hired gardener. Right. Anyway. So if you wanted to, or your parents wanted you to learn how to take responsibility for various agricultural things, like how do you raise your livestock? How do you care for your livestock? How do you learn the finances of a farm? How do you learn basic veterinary science for you have a whole bunch of animals on your property, and what can you do with first aid at home versus what do you need to call a veterinarian for? How do you grow plant-based farming? So like irrigation, seeding, how, to make, like you would grow things and then show them at the fair. So whether that's livestock or whether that's flowers or whether that's plants that you eat, all of these things you would do. So that's where it came from. But it has lots of projects that are also not just farm activities. So I didn't actually grow up on a farm. I grew up between lots of farms. I had dogs growing up, and there was a project pathway for that. I did do quite a lot of the veterinary science stuff because at one point I thought, is veterinary medicine something I want to do as a career? Taking those courses for a few years made me think, no, this is not something I want to do because I don't want to break people's hearts with bad news about their beloved pets for a profession. It gave me a whole appreciation for people who can do that as a job, but I did not think I would be able to do that particular part of the job day in and day out. So it's also important for learning things, that you that might just be your limitations. Yeah, so different ways that 4-H projects would, where do I want this, culminate include most notably the county fair. And a county fair is much like a country fair here in the UK in that there are lots of different things that you can enter, and you bring what you've grown or made and you exhibit it at a fair, and it is judged and deemed to be worthwhile or subpar or whatever. And if you do really well, then it might be taken to another another level of competition. So for example, I have a photo in here somewhere. Hold on. Yeah, I have more 4-H photos. See, dog project, Johnson County 4-H. But I have some other things. I built rockets, model rockets for a 4-H project. We drove in a restored car for a 4-H project. A very dubious poster that I made, which I'm not quite sure why it got a good result. This is a terrible photo, but a big deal to tiny me, because I think I made this when I was about 9. So this is like a ceramic project that I painted to look like my dog. And I entered it in the county fair, and I got a purple ribbon, which was your top award, and selected for state, which meant that then I got to take that to the state fair, which was a bigger deal. Where everybody there had been people who got that ribbon at their county fair. Different states have different amounts of counties, by the way. Kansas has a whopping 105 counties. There are so many. So bonkers. Anyway, so that's kind of what 4-H is. And we would meet monthly, and everything was kind of parliamentary procedure based, but all with the kids. So you could join when you were about 8, I want to say. Maybe a little younger. Because these guys look really young. So maybe they're 7. But the leadership, like there are adults who are kind of in the background, but the president of your club and stuff like that would be somebody who was in high school. So you learned from older kids, basically, and passed down the information that way. So you learned how to correctly have a meeting and call it to order and make decisions. You had a treasurer, so you had to balance your books, all sorts of stuff like that. And then this book that you would get every kind of August time that had all the projects that were available to you in the next 12 months. And you'd go through and choose what you wanted to learn for the year. And sometimes that might be somebody getting a bucket calf, which we've talked about before. And sometimes it might be that you wanted to learn how to sew clothes or repair clothes. I did that a couple times. I did cake decorating as a project. I did some basic cooking and baking, and probably did not pay enough attention in the normal cooking and only paid attention in the baking, because that's the only bit that stayed with me. Oh my goodness, you are kidding me. Helen says the first F she got in school was about naming Kansas counties. That's just a cruel thing to ask anybody to do. I mostly only know the counties that I either lived in or drove through a lot. Johnson, Miami, Wyandotte, that would be the area that I grew up in. I went to university in Crawford County. I know Lawrence is in Douglas County. I don't know any of the others, I don't think. Is Wichita in Sedgwick County, I want to say? But yeah, there's no way I could come up with even 10. And there's 105. That was a cruel test, Helen. I'm very sorry that you ever had to do that. Right, is this stuck yet? No. Do we want to bring some yellow in? We've got yellow over here. Or I've got, what's the B side to this? Hot or pink? Oh, it's the middle. Okay. But I've got this, which is kind of, oh, it's so similar that way. I think no. Okay. So yellow, yes or no? 6th grade. It's crazy. Oh, the yellow I kind of like. All right, we'll do that. I think it needs to come down just a little bit, but not a lot. Sophia says, Shimelle's wealth of skills never ceases to amaze. She's a teacher, a dancer, a scrapper, a designer, a baker, and now she's telling us she can birth a pig and fix a tractor engine. Barbara says, you're from KC area. Yeah. Born on the Missouri side, but raised on the Kansas side, but down south of town, so verging on unincorporated. So I live technically in unincorporated Johnson County, but went to school on the Johnson-Miami County line in Spring Hill, if you actually know South Kansas City. Yeah, there we go. Yep, that's where I grew up. Yeah. So I think, let's bring this down to about there and trim the top. So as far as Sophia says with random things, so I've never birthed a pig. I have certainly helped out with the birth of many litters of puppies including learning what to do when that's not going very well. Here is my probably biggest claim to fame in terms of proving that I'm a farm kid. Okay, so I don't know. I think we've had this discussion once, that it is still shockingly young, but perhaps not as young as it was in the 90s. When I was a teenager in Kansas, a farm license to, for example, drive a massive harvester or tractor on your parents' farm property was the same license as a permit to drive to school and work. And the age for this was 14. And at my mostly farming community town, most of us did get our driver's license at 14 and drive to school from then, including me. And for reference to those of you who've taken a driving test in the UK, you know there's a list of things that you may be asked to do, but on the driving test you will not be asked to do all of them. Things that here are like reverse around a corner, start on a hill, emergency stop, things like that. Yeah? One of the things that was on the list from when I was 14 was to drive a combine or a large tractor out of a field, onto a road, down to the next gate, and back into a field. But this was usually something that, like, kids who didn't have a tractor needed to worry about, because usually they would do something like parallel parking or reverse around a corner. And my driver's ed instructor in the summer between 8th and 9th grade was like, don't even worry about the combine. If you don't own a combine and you're not showing up looking like a farm kid, they're never going to ask you to do that one. They're going to ask you to do the ones that are city driving. Well, I never owned a pair of cowgirl boots or a hat. Oh, I had a hat when I was like 6, but not when I was 14. I most definitely dressed more like a city kid than any of my agriculturally raised peers. And yet, the person I got from my driving test said, okay, now I'm going to take you to the field and you're going to drive that tractor out. The only tractor I had driven was the one that we used to mow our lawn. I had driven a riding mower because we did have acreage to cut the grass, but we did not have a farm. So the riding mower had 2 gears, rabbit and tortoise. And I just want to thank whatever it was in the universe, that combine harvester had rabbit and tortoise. So I drove a combine harvester for the first and only time on my driving test, to get out of the field, down to the next gate, into the field. And my heart was going 1 million miles an hour. I cannot drive a manual car. I have an automatic only license. I live in London. I don't own a car. I don't drive. It's okay. But once I drove a combine harvester that was not mine. I don't know whose combine I was driving. I did not crash it. I did not go into the ditch. And this is one of my top 10 life accomplishments, okay? AJ says, I'm bringing her back to her 1 year in 4-H. I still have my reports and ribbons from the fair. I need to get that in my scrapbooks. I think they gave out $2 bills for anybody who got a blue ribbon. That is a really good point. You got paid at the end of the county fair. Your winnings were in cash, but it was like a ridiculous small sum of money. So say, like, one of the things I entered and won a like big prize for at the county fair was when I was about 13, I decorated a 3-tiered cake. So like the size of and style of a wedding cake, but in penguins. So like for a children's party. And this won me a massive award. But I think the prize money for it was like $4. And I'd probably had to spend like 40 in stuff to make the cake. But I got that $4. So there we go. There we go. All right. Title over here. Something over here. Okay, let's stick this. So there you go. I am pretty sure that the driving rules have changed a little bit. But yeah, and I was, oh my goodness, I was so embarrassed that I got pulled to do that. No. It says nothing about the American who cannot drive a stick shift but calls gears animal names. Well, what would you call it if it was rabbit and tortoise? I mean, you could call it tortoise and hare. I'd accept that as well. But when I was little and I first learned to drive the mower, I called it bunny and turtle. So, you know, rabbit and tortoise, step up. Right. Do I use the one that says, oh my goodness, all the turquoise sentiments are things that, like, I don't have the journaling to back it up. Okay, we're going to have to go with the story behind the photo. All right, so that's going to come up here, but we're going to have some embellishment too. What would you call it if it wasn't rabbit and tortoise? Rabbit and tortoise makes sense to me. Right. I love this. I could use this sticker that says, here's the whole story. I got no clue what the whole story is. I do remember doing this, and I remember where we are, but why we did a play about the Berlin Wall, no, that part is gone. Jen never drove a combine, but certainly saw them all the time and hated getting stuck behind them on the country roads. Elaine says, is the story different in the U.S.? It's the hare and the tortoise here. Oh, yeah, no. Tortoise and hare is definitely the fable. But I don't know if I'm really supposed to call the gears on the tractor the tortoise and the hare. Fast and slow? I don't know. Bunny and turtle. It works the same no matter what. Diane's granddaughter is getting her permit today. She lives in a town that was founded in 1649. We have narrow roads with houses that are close, and I don't want to be on the road with her driving. You're adorable. I don't know why anybody would want to be on the road when I was driving at 14. I mean, I had to sit on the phone book to reach the pedals in the driver's ed car. And I had a pillow behind me because the seat didn't go forward enough. I think I'm making the adhesive Avenger sick to his stomach just imagining it downstairs. He's like, what? No. Oh, he's so kind. He says, it doesn't matter that I was 14. Everyone should just be afraid whenever I'm on the road. I tell him he shouldn't say things like that because then it'll give him bad driving karma. But he doesn't listen. Do I want butterflies? I mean, I probably do. Do butterflies go with plays about the Berlin Wall? AJ's daughter just got her permit last Friday and had her first lesson at the weekend. Hey, Kirsty says on electric wheelchairs, you switch between a rabbit icon and a turtle icon for speed. Excellent. Oh, Corey's at the Atlanta airport. Hello, Corey. How old were you when you got your driving license? But yes. Oh, that didn't work. Congratulations to all the new drivers, for sure. And for those of you who are parent or grandparent to new drivers, let me tell you what happened the very first day that I got, the first day that I was legal to drive somewhere on my own. What happened and what it can teach us all. So to use my permit at 14 on my own, I had to be driving to school or work, like between school, work, home. You couldn't like go to the shops. You couldn't go anywhere else. Thankfully, there was a petrol station between my house and school, which meant I could get my own petrol. But my high school, you came out of my high school. Say my high school's here. You came out of the drive. Here's the road. And this was like a road that basically just this is just access road to the high school. Okay, so you pull out the car park onto this access road, and then there's going to be a main road. For as much as you can have a main road in a tiny little town, the main road is here, and there's a stop sign here where you got to wait to turn right or left. It doesn't go forward. You got to go right or left at this stop sign. So the end of the school day is everybody going out of school to their car, driving in a queue onto this access road and up to the stop sign, and then waiting to go right or left to get home or to work. It's a stop sign. I have to wait here. And the car behind me on the very first day of school, I can see it in the rearview mirror. And he is just having a chat to somebody else in the car and not looking forward and runs right into the back of me. And I freaked out. Because I remember when I started driving, the whole warning from my family was, if you smash up this car, that's it. You're done. And so I turned around. I'm not even sure. This is where the memory goes blank. I'm not sure where I turned around, but I turned around and went back into the school crying. Of course. Why, Shimelle? Why was that your answer to emotional issues? I don't know. Anyway, crying back into the school to find, dun, 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 the guy who taught car mechanic class. I don't know what the title is for that class. I never took it. Of course I didn't. And he wasn't the driver's ed inspector, but he taught like a vocational class for kids who wanted to grow up to be mechanics. So I came back in, and the kids in the car behind me, they also followed me back in. They weren't crying, but they were very embarrassed. And I said, right, he's just, like rolled into the back of my bumper. This is the first day I'm legal to drive. My parents have said if I smash this car, I'm never allowed to drive again. So please tell me that my car is okay. And he got the teacher plus a couple kids who were after school in whatever program that was. They start looking at my bumper, and there's this one little scratch, but they take it all apart and put it back together, and they're like, there's no damage. Your car is absolutely fine aside from that one scratch. So as long as your parents don't ever ask you what that one scratch is, you won't have to explain yourself. And then the teacher steps in and is like, but I would highly recommend you tell your parents what happened. You were at a stop sign. It's not your fault. It's going to be okay. And I look at this teacher and he goes, you're not going to tell them, are you? And I went, no, sir, I'm not going to tell them. If my mother watches this is probably the first time she's ever found out. I didn't tell because I didn't want to lose permission to drive. So, what can we learn from this? Emphasize that telling your parents things is more important than the punishment that will come afterward. Because it wasn't my fault. I was stopped at a stop sign. So yeah, there we go. I never told, but nothing was wrong with my car. Oh, I was so freaked out. The first day of school, this is not what I need. Okay, one there. And I've got a third one. Oh, I've got 4 butterflies. Vicky. Okay, so we could do 2 up here. 1, 2. Because I don't like the idea of having just a random butterfly on another project. I can't cope with that. No. So we'll have 1 flat and 1 popped. That one. Jen says, crying sounds like a completely reasonable response from me. Plus, it didn't stop you from taking appropriate action. It is true. I did want to go to someone that was like more qualified than me. I knew 100% that I would not be the right person to judge looking at my car if there was any damage. I knew that much. I was like, I need a mechanic. Also, I know I don't have enough money from having just started my job that I'm supposed to be going to right now at the Dairy Queen to pay for this. There is a really weird concept that Brits, because we don't, like kids don't drive this young and don't have after school jobs of the same magnitude. Like, so at 14, I was working, I think I was allowed to work up to 20 hours a week. And if I wasn't in a play, I worked just about up to the 20. And then I would drop back and only work a day or two when I was doing a play. And so, dun, 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 dun. I feel like this all the things sticker goes with this. It does. It totally does. I'm going to put it up here. Right down here. No, that's too squarish. Okay. Here. Yeah, so I was working all these hours and I needed to drive to get to work, but I needed to work to pay for the ability to drive there. It's kind of weird, right? So you would do stupid things, perhaps, because you didn't want to risk losing the ability to drive. And it wasn't necessarily that you didn't want to risk losing the ability to drive for the coolness factor of driving, but because you didn't want to lose your job and you were expected to have that job because that's how you got money to pay for all the things. I don't know. It's a very different concept here for teenagers, because teenagers don't work here until much later. It was weird. Tiffany says, my first accident was a deer running into the side of my car. Deer accidents are so terrifying. I missed hitting one head on, but the one that followed slammed into me. All of this on the 1st of April. Oh no. And you had to go, no, this is not a joke, when you told your mom. Oh, Tiffany, I can feel the trauma in that already. I have never hit a deer, but had so many near misses where they dart in front of you, or you see them in the rearview mirror and they dart after you, and you're just like, no, please, no, don't be any more of you who are going to come out and follow the crowd late. Don't be late. Yeah, it's kind of wacky and wild. Okay, thickers. They're not thickers, but you know what I mean. Letters. My dad tells the story, this is Sophia. My dad tells the story of driving down to London with friends in the early 60s in 2 cars. Friends are wondering why he's going so slow, come alongside, and he waves the gear stick out the window. So he had to drive the whole way stuck in first gear. Oh my goodness. I never hit a deer, but I did hit a great horned owl. Or rather, it hit me. And that was both terrifying and because they have a wingspan of the width of your windscreen. And I was like, we grow up in Kansas, like great horned owls are quite hallowed creatures. Like, I don't think they were endangered, but they were definitely important. They're not the state bird, that's the meadowlark. But I was always raised in school that great horned owls were extra, extra special for whatever reason. I'm not sure I know the reasons, but anyway. And I'm driving home with my best friend in the car on our way home from play practice on the motorway in the night. And I was the only car on the road. And apparently they quite often will dive bomb for headlights thinking it's something else. And so it just swooped down and hit my windscreen. And I screamed. It made such a horrible noise. And we just stopped in the car and we're like, what do we do? Like, what are you supposed to do? And you couldn't, we sat there going, what if it's an endangered species and I've left it on the side of the road and I'm going to get arrested tomorrow or something? Like, this was a legit thought in my mind. And of course, the days before phones. So I couldn't Google if gray horned owls were endangered or if there was something I was supposed to do. It didn't crack my windscreen, so my car was safe to drive again. But yes, I felt very bad about the owl. And in the next day at school, I spent half the day with the school counselor trying to recover from my trauma. And it was because my friend went and told the school counselor what happened and was like, she is really upset. Will you talk to her? And then I got into his office and just everything flew out of my brain. Okay. I don't have numbers on this. Okay. So this event is called Club Days, that much I know. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to kind of come up with some way to include 4-H here. Jen says, yes, the late straggler trying to catch up with the other deer is the one that gets you. Yeah. But poor Connie, oh my goodness, Connie has hit 3 deer in her life, and it's so scary. It is so scary. Corey hits parking garages. Parking decks are your kryptonite. Oh my goodness. Oh, Jen, you're amazing. Jen says, sorry about the owl, but my first vision was you in the flying car from Harry Potter, because how else could you hit an owl? And it seemed completely natural to just imagine me in a flying car. Well, I like that, kind of. I don't like that I hit the owl, but I like that explanation. That's much more fun than an abandoned, well, not abandoned, but a quiet motorway in southern Johnson County, Kansas. Right. Corey, since we're just going to talk about things I've done wrong with cars, and my husband's already said that I'm, not to be trusted. There's no sense in me trying to act like I should be trusted. The world is a better place with me on public transport. It's all good. So one time at CHA, I went to get a rental car, and they told me which one was mine. And I went out, and it was a brand new car. It had 12 miles on the clock. And I was like, are you sure? And they said, yep, that's the one, somebody's got to be the first person to drive it off the lot. And you got that one for whatever you ordered. That's the car you get. Don't worry about it. Okay. So then I was like, we better get insurance. We better make sure I have the full insurance on this, because I'm a little nervous about driving this car with 12 miles on the clock. And at that point in my life, well, indeed, in my entire life, no, I have had one new car. I was going to say I've only ever driven used cars. I have driven one new car in my life, and it was before then. So, okay. But anyway, I was very nervous about driving a fancy car that did not belong to me. So I took out all the insurance. And as Corey, at least, maybe not anyone else, but Corey will understand, I then drove from LAX to Anaheim Convention Center, pulled into the hotel multi-story car park, and went to park, and there was a bollard that I could not see, that was not painted yellow or anything like that, was not visible, and was in a completely bonkers place. And I scraped the entire side of the car on this bollard. And I'm like, oh, what have I done? So first I go into the hotel, and I say, what's the situation? And they go, oh my goodness, is there one of these weird bollards that you can't see? And I'm like, yes. Because walking out of the car park to the hotel, all the other bollards are like painted yellow and they're in sensible places, but this one is not. And I said, I just want to let you know, I've just hit a bollard in the car park, in the parking lot, and I'm really worried about the fact that it's almost impossible to see. Like, I know I don't drive here all the time, so maybe it's just me, but that seems really dangerous. And they went, it's not painted yellow? No. Where is it? And somebody from the hotel comes out and has a look, and they're like, that's not ours. And apparently there had been this big, like, insurance or some sort of scam going on where people were putting bollards in places that they weren't supposed to be, where you would have to hit your car to get in or out of the space. And then somehow making money off that. I don't quite understand how that scam works, but that was the deal. So the hotel upgraded my room and comped all my phone calls to sort it out, thinking, oh my goodness, what's happened? Is she going to sue us that this has happened in our car park? And I called the rental car company, and they said, but you took out all the insurance. You don't need to do anything, but could you send us a photo? Could you take a photo and bring it when you come back to deliver the car? And I'm like, you don't need to see it right now? They're like, no, you paid for all the insurance. It's fine. I'm like, okay, I just crashed your car. So yeah, there we go. But oh my goodness, moments that my heart has been in my throat. All these things with cars. There we go. Right. Julie says, my brother borrowed our parents' car when he had an exam. He was told not to park on the college car park, ignored that, had an accident, and the car was a write-off. No. Connie's husband hit an owl with his work van, and it got stuck on the ladder rack. No, all these owls are daft. Owls, for wise old owls, you're really silly with cars. Elaine was driving her dad to the library when a large spider appeared from somewhere. What? This story is going somewhere I didn't expect already. And landed in the middle of the steering wheel. I did an emergency stop and exited the car, leaving my dad, Elaine. Good job. There was no one behind you. Oh my goodness, Elaine. Julie's brother was so cross he kicked the car and broke his toe. Then Mom borrowed Granddad's car to find him, had an accident, and that was nearly written off. Oh my goodness, Julie, that day was just a day that needed a big old undo button. No way. Oh. But yes, Elaine's response to the spider seems perfectly logical. Perfectly fine. Okay. Can any of these sentiments work? Maybe just a smile over here. So originally I thought I'd do some strips down there, but instead I've kind of just done more embellishment up here than I thought. I think I'm going to use this smile. Sophia's like, and this is why I stick to public transport. Yes, for sure. Keep me on public transportation. I was going to go navy, but maybe I go speckled egg. Or maybe I go saltwater taffy. Actually, I don't know. Go on. What should I stamp it with? I will give you control while I do something else, and then I'll come back. Saltwater taffy. Chipped sapphire. Or speckled egg. So that's in this order. There you go. The colors then match what's on the pole. Right. So I'll come back to stamp that when you've decided. I want to find something that can fit a 4 and an H in here, and I think I could do it with little tiled letters / numbers. Oh, or jelly bean if I don't have tiled. Yeah, the tiled ones are more blue. Let's see about this. Oh, no, that's really green. Sorry. I need to put a light in here. Really do. Okay, we got these options. See, in the cupboard, those look alike. I thought just one had cream and one had black. This is really green. And that's too teal. This one is the best. But it's got cream and not white. Don't like that either. Okay. You've all spoken quite clearly on that one. So we'll go ahead and stamp it in speckled egg. Go. Okay. Total departure for cars, but could you talk about the die for June and whether there's a special use for it, or if I could use another flower? Not that I need much persuading for flower dies. The whole reason I picked it was that it was free the weekend that the kit went live. For about 4 days, it was free. If you're buying it now and you have some way to do flowers, just do that. I should take it off the list. Yeah, let me take it off the list. Yeah, it was free kind of the week of National Scrapbook Day. So was the boho sunshine thing. Okay, I'm removing now. Because, no, you definitely don't need to pay $21 for something you may or may not use. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, oops, that was weird. Okay. Right. Where's the right window? There you are. Okay. Yes, Sophia, I have. Oh my goodness, Lindsay, you need to watch it. There's a series called Letters Live where famous people read letters that are real letters that have been sent in the world. And Benedict Cumberbatch reads one called Seagulls in My Hotel Room, and it is amazing. It's just so amazing. It's not him personally. He's reading someone else's letter. It's so, so good. Read it or watch it. It's so good. Letters Live is quite entertaining. Quite entertaining all around. Okay. Maybe I need to look for one of the other colors. Maybe I make the 4H be yellow or this blue. I don't think I have this blue in a letter sticker. All right. What do I have? I have letter stickers shaped like donuts. That's unhelpful. Oh, what about H? 4. Hey. Okay. Is it too dark? I've got a 4 and an H in this color. I think it's pretty close. Okay, it's like, oh no, I missed a free flower die set. Yeah. Or H. Now, ordinarily, it would be written normally, not up and down, but I think it makes sense this way. Yeah? Okay. Let's go back to these stickers. What else can I put on here? Oh, and I have enamel dots in here somewhere. Come on, dots, where are you hiding? Because I don't remember what color I have left. Whoops. There. This was a spare from the other day. I think it might go well with this. Oh, and these are the enamel dots that we have to be careful with. Just remembering that. Go. So to make this make more sense, let's have the dark blue and the peachy pink and the yellow. Yeah, so little spots like that. That one, did I do the right one there? No. Come back. This one. This is what I'm after. That one. This one. Nope, yellow. And the little one, blue. And up here, that means we need a big one in the yellow. Just put it underneath the butterfly there. And middle size in the blue. And a little one in the peachy pink. Okay. Like that. Small stickers on here that make sense. I've got this yellow. You do something soon with the florals on here. Just that yellow, really. Okay. But I can do some dots. You could add this one in too, but I mean, it is a story from my time in America. Maybe I should accept American spelling. Actually, I'm going to have a look in my early years albums, I may have American spelling in there because those albums, I started making them before I moved here. So if it does make sense, then I might come back and do that. Just doing these little confetti dots. Whoop. Put 3 up here by the title. Never feed seagulls. Oh my goodness. When I first moved here, I lived in Brighton, which is on the south coast of England, if you don't know British geography. And it is a seaside town with quite a solid tourist base. And you can stand on the pier and get fish and chips or donuts. And whether you get to eat them or the seagulls get to eat them is not up to you. That is 100% up to the seagulls. Okay, this feels very simple, and yet I'm to a point where what else would I add to it? So journaling's going to go here. Gold mist will go here, here, here. Do I want to add something like this? I don't think I do. That looks kind of out of place. Could add it here. Okay. I mean, could do something like this. And the journaling in here. I kind of want a little bit of confetti stamping to bring that ink color across. So let's get the stamps and just add in some little hearts, because there's not a star on here, but there's hearts. Oh, I thought my little block was there. It's not. Where is it? Here. Like that. Okay. So yeah, I think that is where I stop. She says, going, should I do something like this? No, it's no. Just checking. But yes, Issa is like, you are throwing it back. I am throwing it back. There was a vote at the beginning of whether I should do current photos or these old ones, and I have done the old ones. So there we go. Jen says, are you ever able to add ink or color to letters? Sometimes, yes, but I tried it with these and did not have great luck. Both oxide and normal distress just came right off. So you could use other kinds of things. You'd be looking for something that sticks to glossy stuff, like Slick Writers, Stays On, alcohol ink. But those are things that I don't have a rainbow of. I haven't tried it with Copics. I guess I could try that because that's basically an alcohol ink and a pen. So maybe I'll try that on a spare letter between now and next time. But yeah. Okay, so I think that's where I'm going to finish. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you are in either This Year's Story or Scrap a Rainbow, you will have a new video tomorrow afternoon. And I'll email you about that with the estimated time and all of that. And if you don't do a class and you're just here, I will see you live again on Friday morning. Remember, new time is 10 o'clock on Fridays, not 9:30, which so far is working really well. And what else? If you enjoyed this and you want to give it a thumbs up, that'd be super duper awesome. And I love that. So thank you. And if you can also just hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed hearing about all the different ways that all of us have had minor tragedies with vehicles. We didn't have anything that was horrific, so we just had emotional trauma and cars that needed repair. So that is the best kind of tragedy story. Just the kind that leave you with a bruise on your ego and not on your body. That's what we want. Yeah, so I was trying to think. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say was, don't forget, if you did the sticker class at any time, like if you signed up at any time, all 4 sticker videos are there. So you can log in and see all 4 of those to use up your stickers if you want. Okay? Thank you so very much. I will see you either tomorrow or Friday or in Tomorrowland in the future. Any of those times is great by me. Have a great one. I'll see you soon. Bye.